So as you know, we had some awesome news for Abra this week. I'm going to talk a little bit about it, and we're going to bring in a few minutes the Abra team to talk to us about it as well. And I see questions teeing up already. Keep teeing up your questions. We're taking them from Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, even LinkedIn I'm looking at. So, and by the way, if you're on YouTube, click that like button and make sure you subscribe. Stop what you're doing. Click the like button on the video right now. Get the likes up. This helps us as we promote Money Talks, try to get the word out. You know, Google and YouTube, they have their kind of search algorithms, and the number of likes, it really helps us. We put a lot of work into this. Show us your support. Click the like button. All right. So Abra has grown tremendously over the past few years. Right. We're over 150 employees. We have millions of customers, hundreds of thousands of wallets with active balances. We're constantly rolling out new services. We're spending a lot of time really thinking about how to get to 10, 20, 30, 50 million users in this crypto Web3 space. Our vision is to be the premier global services company in the crypto and Web3 space. But the big question for us is always what's next in crypto, right? Nobody predicted DeFi would be as big as it became. Nobody predicted stable coins would be as big as they became. Same for NFTs. And, nobody knows for sure what's next. I mean, Ethereum has probably dozens of interesting applications. Games is another one that we haven't thought of. So future-proofing our business along all of the multiple segments that we deal with in retail, private client services, institutional services, asset management is absolutely essential to be able to provide the services we want to provide for the next 10, 15 years. The way I look at the existing models for Web3 and crypto is basically you have, on the one hand, you have exchanges, right? And generally the exchanges, the Coinbase Pros, FTX, the OKXs, they're great. They provide services to real traders who need advanced, sophisticated capabilities. And then you have MetaMask. And most of us have tried to use MetaMask. If you've ever tried to access a DeFi service directly or an NFT auction site directly, you've probably had to install MetaMask. And it's incredibly complicated, right? You have to know what a private key is. You have to know how to get the assets in there in the first place. If you're not a tech savvy person, you're not going to have a good experience with that kind of status quo. So we've been architecting Abra to be that happy medium that works for a billion people, right? How do we eliminate the complexity of personal key management in the crypto Web3 space, yet still provide access to all of these great services with a phenomenal user experience? So look, if you look at what we're doing and where we're going in the NFT space, right? The product that we're launching there in a few weeks, which I'm sure Deepak and the team will want to talk about when we bring them on, or the credit cards for earning crypto rewards via C-Perks and other things that we're working on, or the ability to do simple money movement using stable coins. We want to, or earn yield using DeFi rails without actually having to know what the hell DeFi is, right? All of these things need to work in a way that a billion users can access them without having to worry about all of the sophisticated technology. So as we analyze the models for bringing these services to market at global scale, we felt there was no way to do this other than truly to be a crypto-first bank, okay? So crypto-first means that we manage custody, we can deal with trading, we can deal with key management, we can deal with yield, all the things and interest, borrowing and lending, all the things that a bank would do. Okay. Now we'll have more to say about what it means to be a bank in the coming weeks. But we wanted you to know now that we're moving in this direction. This is also related to some of the things that I want to talk about our new Abra Boost service. But this is our vision. Our vision is basically to be your go-to company, global services company. So we're not just doing this in the US, we're doing it outside the US. We're forming Abra International, which we expect to have live in the next few weeks. that will also effectively look and act like a crypto first bank. Okay. So we'll have more to say about this. We're happy to answer your questions, tee them up. We might not be able to answer all of your questions today, but the beauty of forming a bank is several things. One, transparency, right? That means that we're obligated and compelled to make all types of disclosures, right? About, reserves, balance sheet, all right. And so I love that about this model. It means security. It means we're disclosing risk management policies. So anyway, I think there's a great blog article that we published about this on, just go to abra.blog. And that is actually a URL, abra.blog. It'll take you to our blog site. You can click on it, you can read it, and you can see the core tenets that we used in deciding where we wanted to go with this. The second big announcement this week was Abra Boost. Abra Boost is a new product offering that will enable all qualified investors globally to deposit and earn interest on their digital assets. Now, as an interim step, for now, in the US, Abra Boost will be available to institutional investors as well as individuals who are accredited investors. And this requirement will be in effect until Abra Bank launches in the US. All right. So outside the US, Abra Boost will be available to all individuals and institutional investors. All right. So in terms of Abra Earn, once Abra Boost launches, anybody who's qualified that I just mentioned, including individuals and institutions, will be transitioned to Abra Boost. In most cases, you don't have to do anything. A couple of you might have to provide a couple of pieces of documentary evidence, but in most cases, it's kind of automatic, all right? At the same time, Earn will stop accepting new customers, and we have more information online in the support section about the details on that, all right? So in terms of trade and borrow, no changes. There are absolutely no changes to Abra Trade and Abra Borrow as a result of what's going on. All right. And then eventually we'll have more to say going into late this year, early next year about what will happen for non-accredited investors as it relates to Abra Boost. And we're also looking at things like staking, and we'll have more to say about that in the coming weeks. Okay, so I see lots of questions about what I'm saying. So clearly this is of interest. So why don't I stop there and bring in the Abra team? So we've got several folks joining us. We're actually here's a challenge, right? There's 7 of us joining, and I've got Elena here with me. So scoot over, and Elena is our Chief Legal and Compliance Officer. We're actually, the 8 of us are kind of co-located for a few days for our quarterly exec offsite, but there was no easy way to have a series of cameras that made it easy for us to talk to you from one conference table, which was my goal. So we actually split up in different rooms to make it easy to talk to you. So I'll have people introduce themselves as we answer questions. So keep your questions coming. I've got a bunch already. So one of the first questions I have here is about explaining our private and institutional clients. So can you explain how your team services private and institutional clients? So Robert, why don't you introduce yourself, talk about what your team does, and then talk about the private and institutional client services.
Sure. Thanks for having us on, Bill. Really appreciate it. And look, really great to be here with everyone. So I believe that we are probably the only super high touch sales team in the crypto industry that caters to private clients and institutional investors and institutional allocators. And we have like 3 objectives, really. The first objective, and what we really strive to do, is education. Education is a really important part, especially for new crypto investors. And our team spends a lot of time educating them on how important it is to be partnering with a safe and compliant partner like Abra. But in addition to that, we educate on how we are seeing a lot of the most professionals and sophisticated investors out there. How are they incorporating crypto into their overall portfolios, either from a return perspective or even more importantly, from a diversification perspective, and how crypto plays that role. So we do a lot of that educating with our clients. Then number two, which is probably the most important part, is making it really easy for them to invest into crypto, right? So, and incorporating crypto into their overall portfolios. So every single one of our clients has a dedicated relationship manager, in addition to a whole 24/7 account management team that is holding their hand the whole way from the beginning, which is onboarding, all the way to their first execution and throughout their whole life cycle of being a client with Abra. So that is, and we're making that experience very, very easy and simple, and making sure that they have someone always at their disposal for any questions about any aspect of their investing. And then number three is we're their ears and eyes on the ground about anything that's going on in crypto. So we are educating them on the difference between some of the large cap tokens out there, coins and crypto, versus some of the alts out there, and how they're kind of thinking about them, and they can make their own decisions on how the mix of their allocation is. But we really give them the difference of each of those. And when there's anything new that's going on in the industry, the evolution of Web3, NFTs, how we're incorporating that into our business, we make sure that we are their first point of contact and explaining all of that to them. We do that really anything that's going on in crypto. So we're serving as their go-to resource for really all of their crypto questions, investments, and activities, really. And in general, what does that all sum up to us and our global team? We're trying to make it a really comfortable experience for them and a safe experience for them when they're in the market. So that long answer, but that's kind of how we really approach all of our clients.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So I think one of the things that I love about the team is how approachable everyone is. I mean, I've used every exchange there is. I'm guessing most people watching have used every exchange there is. This kind of term of exchanges being a black box, or a black hole, just keeps coming up over and over again. And I love how our clients are constantly telling me that Abra is just so approachable, right? We hosted a dinner for dozens of our top clients this week here in New York, and it was fantastic. I got to interact with them directly, and several of the exec team members were there, and others from our asset management and funds were there. And it's just fantastic. And I don't see anyone else in the space even trying to do this. And on the one hand, it's a shame, but I think it's also a testament to the quality of service that we've built. All right. I want to talk about Boost versus Earn for a moment, because I'm getting a lot of questions there. So maybe I'll revert to Willie and Deepak on this, and so we're getting some questions on what is the difference between Boost and Earn. What's going to happen to my stuff on Earn when Boost goes live? Do I have to worry about anything? So can you just clarify what's really happening here with Boost and Earn to make it easy for everyone to understand? I hope you guys are on mute.
Absolutely. Hey, Bill, nice to be here again. Hopefully some of us in the audience know who I am, but I lead all of product and growth here at Abra. And back to your question, so Boost is a completely new product offering that we're about to launch on the 3rd of October. And as Bill, you mentioned previously in the chat, that Boost is going to be available for all qualified investors, both in the US and outside the US, to be able to bring their assets into Abra and earn interest on them. Earn is effectively going to shut down by the end of the month. It's not going to accept any new customers, any new assets moving forward, Boost is the only product offering that allows you to bring your assets in and earn interest on them. Earn. So the question is sort of what happens to existing users of Earn. So the existing users of Earn have basically two options. One option is to get qualified for Abra Boost. So we're going to make it very easy for you to get verified with Abra as an accredited investor. And I'm specifically talking about individual investors in the US. And so once you get accredited, you will be seamlessly transitioned onto Abra Boost, and everything would be back to normal. Or if you, for any reason, don't want to be verified as an accredited investor with Abra, then you will remain in Earn, and you will continue to earn interest on your existing assets in Abra Earn until further notice, right? And so that means that you're not allowed to add any new assets on to Abra Earn, right? If you withdraw assets from Abra Earn and you want to bring those assets back into Abra Earn post 3rd of October, you won't be able to do so. The only way to add new assets into Abra to earn interest on them is going to be Abra Boost. For international users, nothing changes. Whether you're individuals or institutions, the experience will be very much the same. Everybody will be seamlessly transitioned. This only applies to individual investors in the US.
Yep. Okay, so let's see. I think that was very clear. If anybody has any follow-up questions, please post them. I think that one of the key recurring themes is, okay, congratulations, Abra. You didn't have the poor management practices of some of your competitors who are no longer with us, and our heart goes out to folks who are still waiting to get assets back from some of these other companies, and I hope that does work out. But two related questions to that becomes, okay, why is this not going to happen to Abra? And number one. And two, on the very small chance that Abra does go south, what happens to those assets? So Justin and I, I'll give the mic to Justin in a moment, and Elena may want to comment on this as well. But Justin and I did a show a few weeks ago with Lisa, our head of risk. And we went in very deep in risk management and understanding how Abra manages risk, how our risk committee works, how we lend, how we manage DeFi positions, and none of that has changed. Okay, I think we have, bar none, the best risk management team, systems, processes that I've ever seen. Okay, and it's getting better. So I think that's a big competitive advantage, positive for us. And I honestly hope that this happens in the rest of the space as well. I don't want Abra to be just a party of one in this. I hope that people will pay attention to what we're doing, and all of this time I spend, I have a company to run, but I'm spending time on podcasts with the press and, regulators and everybody else talking about what we need to do to get the word out that, hey, this can actually be managed correctly. Okay. So that's part one. Part two is, okay, so let's assume that we do all the things we're saying, but things still do go south. There's always going to be a process for how to, recoup funds. But I think that, we'll have more to say about this in the coming weeks, but the direction that we're going in from a licensing perspective makes it easier for us to do things like segregate funds, right? Not have them have to be intertwined with Abra's balance sheet, which is not a good idea. right? If you go look at a normal US bank, right? Go look at Wells Fargo, it's not one big balance sheet where customer funds are here with, working capital. You have a segregation of funds versus working capital, and you have tier 1 capital, tier 2 capital. And so we're moving in the direction of trying to put systems in place that are recognized by government and regulators that separate these things. Okay. And we don't have all the answers yet because no one's done this before, to be clear. And we're trying to be the first to figure this out. And we're trying to figure it out in multiple jurisdictions. So I don't know, Justin, Elena, if you want to, and did that more or less make sense? Did I get that right?
I think you nailed it, Bill. I think you nailed it.
I mean, you want to add any color, Justin, on the risk piece, or?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So, I mean, I think we talked about this when we were chatting with Lisa a couple of weeks ago. I'll kind of beat the dead horse again, which is that, we've taken an approach that, we're taking best of breed from the traditional space and applying it to the digital and crypto space, right? So there's a lot of things that work really, really well in the traditional finance space. There's obviously some things that we want to improve upon as a result of being in the digital space, but the things that have worked for 25, 50, 100 plus years from a risk management perspective, whether it's diversification, concentration, liquidity, so forth, duration, which obviously we all know kind of got several of our former competitors in trouble. We apply every day, right? So I said this before, I'd like to say it's some kind of, miracle cure that we've come up with, but we're really just using kind of tried and true measures that have worked and, being very strict and diligent about not deviating from those, and doing it in a way that is as commercial as possible, but not violating our internal risk policies, obviously. So it's really important to us. It's a core part of our DNA, I think. And I don't know that a lot of our competitors can really say that. Definitely not the ones that are no longer our competitors. So I think that's just, it's part of who we are. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. So there's a bunch of other questions here related to Boost. So I think I know the answer to this, but somebody was asking, okay, I'm a non-accredited investor. I have more Bitcoin probably than most accredited investors. Do I have to remove my assets? So to be clear, Deepak, Elena, Willie, I think the answer is no. They can just leave them there. They just won't be able to add more until they send in the forms to say that they're accredited. So if they're not accredited, they can leave what they have there. They just can't add more. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes. So you don't have to do anything. Leave your assets right there, and until further notice, it'll continue to earn interest for you. But just note that if you do decide to withdraw your assets beyond the 3rd of October, you won't be able to add any more assets into Abra Earn. The only way to do so is to add them into Abra Boost, given that you're a qualified investor.
Yeah. Look, I know that some of the kind of non-accredited folks amongst you in the US don't like the rules as they exist in the US. I'm not here to basically, do anything other than say, these are the rules. We didn't make up the rules. If you don't like the rules, I strongly encourage you to write to your Congress people. By the way, one of the interesting pieces of news this week was there was a group, and Coinbase did a pretty good job following this. And if you don't listen to On the Brink, which is Castle Island Ventures weekly podcast, you should. They had they published a list of grades Congress people as it relates to crypto. And it was very honest, very, very honest. And so you should go look at the grades for your Congress people and write to them and say, hey, look, you're not representing my needs with these accredited investor rules, right? And look, the SEC is at liberty to make up those rules for lack of legal guidance. And meaning if there's no law passed that says this is the definition of an accredited investor, and you must allow these services or investors to access these services on an exception-based basis, they don't have to do it, right? So the stopgap is to go to your congressperson, let them know your feelings on this topic, and petition them to change the laws so that the SEC has more legal guidance versus their current ability to more or less do what they want as it relates to these issues. And I think that's the best that we can hope for in the coming years. The rules have gotten looser over time, but I agree with Commissioner Pierce at the SEC, who says the rules actually make no sense. But that doesn't matter to Abra. It matters in the sense that we want to make the services available to everyone, but we simply have to follow the rules like everyone else. Okay, so we can debate the quality and efficacy of the rules all day. Doesn't matter. We have to follow the rules. Okay. So hopefully that point is clear. So we'll segue that into, let's see, we have a couple of legal questions here. So we'll start, give you kind of a softball here. Elena, will Abra's services evolve with more licenses, or do we expect to have to restrict services as we get licensed and kind of more fully licensed over time?
I don't think we expect to restrict services. However, we're still working very diligently on understanding what would be the most compliant and efficient way to structure our services and our products, both from regulatory perspective, but also from consumer-centric perspective. We want to offer services to everyone, just like Bill said, but we also have to follow the rules. And these rules are really created with consumer protection in mind. And I think that's what's often kind of omitted in these discussions. Regulators are out there watching out to protect their consumers. And who falls under this category is not something that we determine. We just follow what the law says. And of course, there are a lot of nuances and gray areas which we're trying to explore, but always with consumer protection in mind. And I keep saying this because it's the reality. We work really closely with our regulators or future regulators, as well as our council, to get guidance on, first of all, to bring our relationships to the next level, to have strong relationships with our future regulators, and also to understand what's expected of us as we are really carving out the next steps and how this, as we refer to it as crypto bank, or just in general, offering services to a wider group of people, and how would that work under certain licensing regimes. So I think we will be able to offer services that are not available on the market today, or at least they will be offered in a way where customers will actually feel protected while at the same time have access to crypto.
Yep, for sure. So again, just to recap, don't shoot the messenger. So if it was up to us, we would flip a switch and we would offer whatever we want to everyone. That's not the way the system works. I do believe in disclosures. I do believe in full disclosures. That's why we've been out talking about risk management, how we earn yield, lending, DeFi for a couple of years since we started doing it. And you can go search Google for my name and Myriad Podcasts, and you can basically see me repeating myself over and over again on these topics, but that doesn't change the rules, right? And so we're fully committed to that. And as I said, not liking the rules basically means you should go talk to your elected officials to get them to act to make the rules more equal, more fair, and to your personal liking. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about product futures. I see a question here. What products is Abra developing right now that excite you the most? So Willie, we haven't heard from you yet. So why don't you introduce yourself for those who don't know you and take that one.
Hey everyone, this is Willie, and I run engineering product development here at Abra. And so we've been having been doing a lot of research and also actual active development. What Bill kind of talked about earlier in terms of the vision is how do we bring a decentralized crypto bank in the easiest way for our users? And so in the next couple of weeks and months, you will begin to see releasing of the products in which that users on our platform will be able to access DeFi or dApps or decentralized applications, whether it's for yield, whether it's for NFT, and also any other future uses of our platform, of DeFi that maybe we haven't thought of or people haven't been created within the same secure, easy to use, and integrated platform that Abra currently has. And I think it's really about access. When I think about the vision, if you think about the core tenet of internet, it's about sort of democratizing messaging. That's when it started. It democratized, a whole bunch of access to the sites for users. And I think that with DeFi and the decentralized apps, Web3, we're now talking about decentralization of not only financial products, but all type of decentralized application that's running on the internet where there's no central control. And I think that is great for the users. And we want to be able to really provide that access and easy on-ramp for everyone and not just for the techies. And I think that's what excites me most about the future of what we're building.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just so cool that there's this huge opportunity right now. I talk to people. I know I'm repeating myself on Money Talks, but I've been spending a lot of time in the NFT space the last few months, and every time I talk to somebody about what's happening in the NFT world, this issue of MetaMask comes up again. It just comes up over and over and over again. Every single discussion. Are you guys going to make this stuff accessible so that I can access my NFTs on Super Rare, or I have Super Rare in the brain because I went to their gallery last week, which was pretty cool. I'll talk about that in a minute. Or even DeFi and Compound. I saw some of the lending stuff that Compound announced this week, which I thought was great. It's really trying to merge CeFi, DeFi a little bit. And how can an app that's meant to be super easy to use and hide the complexity access those services in a way that's perfectly legal, even though we have to trust Abra as the custodian, right? And that's the magic here, So I think that's awesome, Willie. So we're gonna have to capture that one, and maybe I think there's a little TikTok video in your answer there, Willie. So that's pretty cool. Maybe we'll memorialize your answer for all time. All right. Here's one. What are some of the strategic opportunities? It's kind of a variation. What are some of the strategic opportunities you're most excited about for Abra? So Ben, you spend a lot of time with our asset management team. We have a venture team now thinking about what's next. We've made some strategic investments even. Maybe you want to take a stab at that and talk about some of the strategic ops you're most excited about. And then anybody else should chime in as well, for sure.
Yeah. So maybe by way of background, I manage our strategic investments and research. I figure out ways of aligning and scaling up our interests with our entrepreneurs and service providers we work with. I'd say a general comment. It's been a tough environment the last 6 months, and I think we've seen not just a rotation away from this sort of number go up mindset for market participants, but for builders too. And I think that's actually led to a lot of exciting developments from sort of an infrastructure and technology perspective. You're seeing sort of less replication of the same DEXs and lending protocols, and a little bit more, broad in focus, going beyond, just leverage optimization to tools that provide better support for hedging and risk management. I think external opportunities that are really interesting for Abra, I think are going to result in, sort of the bread and butter of, faster, more unified liquidity across different ecosystems, different blockchains. I think better rewards rates and support for more tokens. I think this concretely can come to benefit a lot of the institutions and partners that we work with, not just in getting access to crypto and better integrations, but really enabling them to accomplish more scalable distribution for themselves and kind of onboarding the next generation of institutions.
Yep. Yeah. I think institutional onboarding is a huge opportunity in the space. We're seeing a lot of interesting plays in that area. I know, Justin's team that manages a lot of the lending that we do on the institutional side is really interested, in that whole kind of where is that going? And it's one of those things that I know that, a lot of developers and startups are being formed around right now. And so that's pretty exciting. I think, we've always said the down markets are for building, and the up markets are for making sure that your services are robust, have no downtime. And I think we take that to heart, here at Abra, and we've really spent the better part of this year in hardcore build mode. And I know we've got a lot of you who are tuning in every week who hear me say this every week, but I am super excited about what's coming. So why don't we spend a few minutes on what's coming? So Darryl, we haven't heard from you. So in terms of what's coming, what are the tech initiatives that you and the company are particularly focused right now, and also just introduce yourself to everyone so they know who you are.
Yeah, I'm Darryl. I'm the CTO here. Not to get into too much of the product roadmap, which others have already touched on, but on the technology side, there are a couple things. We're working on a lot of different stuff, but there are a couple things to highlight. The first, I think, is that we're really trying to improve the infrastructure we have in place so that we can add support for new assets and new blockchains more easily. I know there have been a lot of assets that people have been asking for a while that we haven't been able to bring online. And we've heard all that feedback and we want to make that easier. So there's a lot of other things that go into adding an asset, but we want to make at least the technology side easier for us to do. So that's one of the big things we're working on, is to try and help us get more assets online. And then the other big one that's always top of mind for us is security. We've talked a lot about risk management and all the, how do we protect people's money from a financial standpoint, but we also look at it from a technology standpoint, because the digital assets, we have to keep them secure. So always revisiting what layers do we have in place to protect the assets. How do we make sure we protect against external threats, internal threats, all sorts of what could happen, all the what if scenarios. How do we make sure that we protect all of our customers' assets? Because that's all part of protecting our customers and kind of fulfilling our core duty. It's technology and infrastructure, as well as all the financial practices. So we look at it holistically on all sides, and those are really the two things I would highlight.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredibly complex what goes on in the background when you're running, let's call them these crypto banking, whatever, exchange services, swap services, custody services. When you're dealing with dozens of assets. I mean, we were talking about this earlier today. Every time there's a new blockchain, right, managing deposits, withdrawals, and custody is a very laborious process, because you've literally developed an entirely new asset, which has its own technology stack, and we have to basically, via our partners, make sure that we can efficiently, safely support the deposits and withdrawals even from those assets, which obviously is sounds pretty basic if you've used an exchange or a wallet, but people don't think about the amount of complexity that even goes on in terms of doing that right. Okay, so everybody's favorite topic is getting, obviously, its weekly share of questions, and right now it's about CPerks. So let's talk about that for a second. So a whole bunch of questions about how the change from earn to boost affects both CPERX holdings as well as CPERX earnings. I don't know, Deepak, Willie, one of you guys want to take that one? You're on mute.
Yeah, let's talk about CPERX. So currently we have CPERX as part of Earn. That will basically transition into the new program Boost. Okay. Now, so we will also offer CPERX as part of the Boost. And the rules that Deepak described earlier would apply. So for international users, again, everything's the same. It will be transitioned seamlessly. There's nothing for international users to do. For the existing, for the users here in the U.S. specifically, existing users or new users will need to become accredited investor. They want to add new CPERX in. Existing users, won't be able to, but if they want to add new, they will also have to become accredited investors. So you will follow the same rules, but we will keep the program.
So to be clear, if you have CPERX today in Abra Earn, it's obviously safe. It's not going anywhere. Under any circumstance, you'll be able to hold and keep your CPERX. In some cases, you'll be migrating very quickly to Boost and continue to earn CPERX. In some cases, you'll still be in Earn and earning CPERX, but it's all going to be there. It'll all happen basically automatically in the app. Just open up the app. It will tell you if you need to do anything. Your CPERX is safe. We remain fully committed to it, and it's not going anywhere. So I think that's the key takeaway. And I know we're giving you a lot of direction. We're not really asking you to do anything right now, except to just kind of repeat ourselves and absorb the information. That the app itself will guide you when you need to be guided. So you don't have to take notes. You don't have to remember what we're saying. We just don't want you to be surprised when you get this information that, now we have Abra Boost. And so, like I said, the app will guide you and let you know what you need to do. So let's see. So maybe, let's see. We have a question here. How will Abra's commitments to customers evolve with all of these new licenses that Abra is pursuing and going to have? So you want to take that one?
Yeah, so Abra has always built its product and operations with safety and soundness as a top priority, and this is not a new concept to us. I think with more licensure, it will come the more structured approach around processes and procedures, again, with respect to safety and soundness, with respect to consumer protection. And we're working really hard, again, to become a respected and qualified participant in the global financial system, not only for crypto, but also for just generally for traditional financial products. And I think more licensure, of course, creates more rules, and we have to just bring more structure into some of our processes. But for the most part, we're already there because we've worked on this way before we started our licensing initiatives.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so the bottom line is that in order to bring this kind of next generation of crypto Web3 services, we simply need to, make sure that we're able to act legally in every single jurisdiction that we want to operate in, and we're fully committed to, okay, so let's see. Lots of questions and comments here. Again, please contact your favorite congressperson if you wish to share your opinion on accreditation rules. Is Boost still backed by Prime Trust, or is it now underwritten directly by Abra? So I'll give a quick answer on that one. So again, this is an interim step that we're taking to move Abra Boost as a new offering directly under the Abra umbrella. And as a result, we're taking this in immediate step on the accreditation status, and then the plan eventually is to once Abra has a bank license live, would be to move it under Abra Bank, and we'll have more to say about that in the future. And also for Abra International non-US users, it's fully managed by Abra directly now, and we'll have more to say about licenses there in the next couple of weeks. Okay, so good question there. Let's see, we have time for, I think, two more questions. So Renee, just very good question. How many Abra employees will be able to use Abra Boost? So for privacy reasons, I actually don't know who is accredited and who is not accredited within Abra. But for international non-US and US, the rules are exactly the same. We get no incremental benefits. If you're a US person at Abra, you must be accredited to use Boost for now. And if you're an international employee, you're good to go. So there's absolutely no difference for Abra employees versus our other customers. Will Amex, Ryan asked, will Amex be getting another tranche of C-Perks with the launch of the card? So Ryan, good question. We'll be announcing the rewards details of C-Perks as we get closer to launching the card. And we hope to factor, as I've said before, C-Perks into the rewards model of the whole, Abra card program with American Express. So like I said, remain and have been fully committed. All right. So let's see here. Enough of that. I think I've answered the C-Perks questions. Yes, the transition for Abra Earn to Abra Boost is for October 3rd, I believe, is the magic date. So a couple of you have asked questions about that. Again, we have sent emails to everyone who needs to get the email. Okay, so if you're not getting Abra emails, you need to check your spam folders. I've had a few friends who use Abra comment to me about this, say they're not getting email, then went and checked the spam folders and found that they were getting the emails, but because of the way, Gmail works, or whatever your email program is, they marked as spam. So go in there and please check those. All right. Let's see. Yeah. I think. Let's see what. Yeah. Let's see. I think. Got it. All right. So I think this one is for Robert. So what are the most common kind of services that your high net worth private, let's call them, private clients take advantage of with Abra, and what sets Abra apart? It's a pretty good question.
So as I mentioned earlier, the high touch kind of white glove service throughout all of the services that we give really sets us apart. But the one that they use the most, really, I would say, is Abra Earn, now to become Abra Boost, is the service that a lot of both of our private clients and institutional clients really rely on us for the most. We started an OTC trading desk, and we're getting a lot of interest from both private clients and our institutional clients as well. So those two services are the areas that are getting the crux of the attention of all of our clients. And what really, again, and I'll repeat it again, we hear it over and over again from our clients, the type of personal touch, the price of the amount of 24/7, whatever they need, whenever they want it, they're getting it from our whole 24/7 team. So that level of high touch is absolutely a differentiator.
Yep. So for folks who aren't aware, OTC's over the counter. It's a kind of a high touch swap service we offer now, trading service where if you're buying or selling crypto in very, very large amounts, oftentimes you don't want to do that on a third-party exchange, because the spreads, as you increase the amounts, will often widen and you kind of get screwed on the price. And Abra can help those larger clients with large bulk orders to get a much better fill or a better price on buys and sells. So if you're in that the market a need for that. It's something we do provide now, and that business has been growing very quickly for us, both on high net worth investor side as well as institutions. Okay, so we are exactly on the hour. Thank you all very much. Thanks, gang, for agreeing to do this. I know a lot of us, it's not something we do every week. So really appreciate you all joining, getting a lot of thank yous from the audience here on the interwebs, and so appreciate that. And yeah, so keep the questions coming. Ask your follow-up questions on the YouTube channel. Click the like button. We need you to do that. Like and subscribe on YouTube. And yeah, keep the questions coming across all of the channels, and we will follow up with you in the coming weeks on future episodes of Money Talks. So from New York City, I'll wish you all a fantastic weekend, and we will see you soon. Take care.